For latest updates and short audio clips, follow us on Instagram, Reading the Author.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast Reading the Author, a unique show where we read authors' mind and not their book. Meanwhile, I truly believe and pray that you and your families are completely safe and healthy as well. Guys, today we have Rakhi Kapoor ma'am with us, and she's the author of altogether 26 books. So thank you so much ma'am for coming on our show. I'm truly grateful कि आप हमारे show पर आए.
Welcome. I must thank you. Thank you for having me over.
Pleasure, ma'am. So, ma'am, like before we get into the podcast and know much more about your books, about your upcoming projects and everything, I would request you to please introduce yourself so that our listeners can know much more about you. And do let us know how you started this writing journey as well.
Okay. I'm an author of 26 books. We have had the privilege of having, not privilege, I think grace and blessings of 5 Amazon bestsellers, 2 Golden Book Award winners, my 25th and 26th book. But writing is just one part of my life. I am also a physiotherapist who pioneered the concept of prenatal counseling in India. That means getting pregnant women to go through a course along with their spouses so they can have better maternal and fetal health outcome. That means they also fare well for the pregnancy. The babies are healthier. And the mothers are also apt taking care of the responsibilities of the new motherhood. I'm also an entrepreneur. Okay. So I run a menswear brand. I co-founded it with my spouse, and we are based out of Chennai called Derby Menswear. Oh, and it's a pretty popular brand, in South India. And my husband's name is Kapoor. So these are 3 other things that I do. And writing journey, so that's the whole, a nuance about the whole thing that I always wanted to be a writer. But life है ना क्या वो अपनी चलाती रहती है और फिर हम अपना पकड़ते रहते हैं कि कहाँ छूट गए. I wanted to be a writer all my life. But the parents were very clear कि you cannot do, you have to be a professional. So either MBBS करो या you have to your engineering professional course ही होना होता है. In our times it was like this. आजकल इतने options had to pick up a career. So we didn't have that. So then I completed my graduation in BPT, that's Bachelor's in Physiotherapy. Okay. And then I decided that I wanted to do something different because I went through a very traumatic childbirth experience. So that's where I got up and I said that if me, who's so educated and informed enough, can mess up, then what about the other women? How do they take care of mental and physical health during the pregnancy, and how do they prep for childbirth? So that's when I started my center called Dewey Maternity Studio. For 20 years, I've been counseling thousands of pregnant women. And it's not only physical stuff, we don't just take care of their body. It's about their mind. We talk about mood swings, postnatal depression, what happens facing the new mother, new life of a mother. Nobody wants to understand what happens to a mother. Everybody wants a happy baby. Yeah. But while I was doing this, I was pretty successful in my career. The writing bug was going on biting me. Rakhi, you're not writing a book. You're not writing a book. And trust me, I'll tell you, when I used to walk into bookstores, ro के वापस आती थी मैं कि अरे बाबा इस जन्म में तो होगा ही नहीं किताब लिखना, अगले जन्म में लिखना. And then, you say you have to be very careful कि, what you ask for the universe, because अगर universe ने तथास्तु बोल दिया तो हो जाता है. बिल्कुल. So then I went on a trek to Nepal in 2014, and it was a high altitude trek. It was like it summited at 18,000 feet. But I had complications because I had a difficult childbirth and a lot of other problems. So I had 2 umbilical hernias, and which was not diagnosed. Okay. So I was traveling in the mountains. Already altitude, you have things like altitude sickness, your oxygen very low.
You always feel those heaviness on your chest,
Yeah. You bend down and tie your shoelace. It's like आधी जिंदगी निकल जाती है. What we trekkers do? We actually lift our feet up and give it to a co-trekker to tie a shoelace in the middle of the trek. क्योंकि झुक के बैठ के इतना मुश्किल हो जाता है. And above 10,000 feet, you can hardly breathe.
Oh,
So
oh,
at around 12,000 feet, this was the trek to the Gokyo Lakes, I
okay.
felt sick. I had loose stools, I got my periods, I had a stomach bug, I had fever, and I was
Oh my
struggling
God.
with my altitude, everything together. So my trek group leader said, I can't risk taking you on top. You have to
Hmm.
abandon your trek. And you please go back and wait for us at a certain height so that we can take a flight out and
Hmm.
reach the base.
Okay.
And for 6 nights and 5 days, I was on my own. एक तो बहुत बीमार थी. Then I was so heartbroken and so upset कि I failed in life
Hmm.
because मेरे में था ही नहीं. You go on an expedition and 17 of you are, of your group members have gone ahead and you're all alone. And it is not that you're left alone in the city. No, nobody, not a single person in the vicinity except for one Sherpa and
Uh,
some deserted, tea houses.
Hmm.
Okay, I literally some of the tea houses were like one bhoot bangla experience. रात को वो घंटी का this is all there in my book. The girl who घंटी बजता है वो मंदिर में and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh कभी भूत आया because
Hmm.
I'm the only person in the whole tea house and only woman.
Definitely.
So then I came back to Chennai, thankfully, because मुझे एक ही था कि I can't fall off the Kumbu Valley and my body can't disappear क्योंकि I
Hmm.
have to go back to my 9-year-old son. That was
Hmm.
very important. There was a little boy waiting for me back home.
बिल्कुल.
And then I came back and I was really heartbroken and, devastated. And one day I was going on cribbing, crying. You know how we all do when we fail at something.
True.
And then suddenly it hit me. Array, what a beautiful story. 6 nights, 5 days in the middle of nowhere. And I met some
Hmm.
fantastic people.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So, I mean, people who lived in those challenging mountains and who had so many challenges. But they gave me so much of love. Jitna bhi unse ho saka. They kept me together. So
Hmm.
then started my first book, which I published in the year 2017 called The Girl Who Was Left Behind.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
then there was no looking back. वो होता ना यूनिवर्स ने said, अच्छा तेरे को किताब लिखना है एक क्या तू
Hmm.
26 डाल
बिल्कुल. बिल्कुल. Yeah.
one after the other, one after the other.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I was always trying to write a book. So I was trying to write something for pregnancy and all that stuff. So I brought in writing books for my career to, support my other careers.
Hmm.
And COVID hit. So I had all the time and less distractions to keep writing. So that's how 26 books.
Okay, definitely quite an inspiring journey, ma'am. And it is very well said that writing is something, na, or creativity is something what I personally feel that it is something you just can't chase it. It follows you automatically. So by chance, things happen, and definitely the outcome is here in front of all of us. So when it comes to ma'am, like as we all know that talking about all those 26 books is quite not possible in this single podcast. So we will keep on inviting you for our other podcasts to talk about all these books. But as I can see that
Sure.
last two books like this Now You Breathe and the second one is Breaking
Mm-hmm.
Free, Embracing Me is performing quite well on Amazon, right?
Right. Right.
So, talking from a new reader's perspective, like after listening to this podcast, they must be wondering to read, they must be interested in buying and reading the book. So, what a new
Mm-hmm.
reader can expect from those two books? Can you share some insights?
Okay, see, the topics that I have touched basically start with personal transformation, mental health, self love. Okay, so
Hmm.
I've had a series of books. I've written both fiction and non-fiction. I never had the time. See, when you write 26 books one after the other, I never had the time to promote any book.
Hmm.
Okay, that was the biggest challenge. So I have both fiction and non-fiction, but the tendency to write towards personal transformation, self-love, and after COVID hit, mental health is all over the place.
Hmm.
COVID
True.
is like World War III. The kind
Yeah.
of changes that have happened in the history of the world and the world is progressing. It is such a mega, event. Like talk about economy, talk about technology, talk about AI. Everything has jumped.
Hmm.
Okay, but we have to agree that sudden shift and so many years we thought 15 days ka we'll have a lockdown and the whole world locked down for almost
Yeah.
2.5 years.
Hmm.
That has taken a lot of impact on the mental health of the people. It's not easy to come back from something like that. So the Now You Breathe and Breaking Free, Embracing Me is hardcore mental health. And I'm not just talking about depression or suicide or anxiety, because I have a book called Love Yourself, where I dealt with my own depression after I lost my father in the middle of COVID. But Now
Okay.
You Breathe and Breaking Embracing Me are like scientifically talking about age old years of research and the psychiatric medicine which came up with the DSM. Okay, it is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders, which talk about why people behave in certain manner.
Hmm.
What is toxicity?
Hmm.
Why certain relationships are toxic, and it actually classifies scientifically. So there's a lot of research and work that has been done to write these books. Like it's very nice to read watch a movie or read a crime thriller, yeah,
Hmm.
and we read about serial killers, we read about psychopaths, sociopaths. So this book addresses, that's just one segment of a personality disorder, but the most common disorders are narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder. Everyone in our life must have faced a nasty person. Yes or no? Sometime in your
Yeah.
life, you would have met a person who just was impossible. Okay. And then you run away. But what happens when somebody faces this kind of a person 24/7? Or this person is so important to your personal life and career?
Hmm.
How it destroys your mental health and it destroys your career, your whole life. So Now You Breathe is talking about toxic and abusive relationships in general with
Okay.
scientific basis. I'm just
Uh-huh.
not talking about a killer, a chore, a thief, I'm talking about why they are who they are. If a person has committed, or if a person is mean, angry, all the time destroying other people's, self-esteem, why they are and what makes them who they are is what Now You Breathe is all about. And Breaking Free, Embracing Me, I've done a little in depth work because, as an adult, you can face vicious people. But when children get stuck in abusive and toxic relationships, it's heartbreaking because they didn't ask for it. And most of the time, they get stuck with either with parents or somebody of authority, you understand, in school, or
Hmm.
someone who's supposed to love them and protect them.
Hmm.
It's the greatest betrayal in the name of love. So, Breaking Free, Embracing Me is about childhood abuse and
Hmm.
how adults, like, आपको बचपन में शायद ऐसा कोई एक्सपीरियंस हुआ रहेगा और आप सोचते हो कि चलो ठीक है, हो गया, बात बीत गई. नो,
Hmm.
हैव नो क्लू कि वो आपके पर्सनालिटी को कैसे चेंज कर देगा, आपके माइंडसेट,
Agree.
थिंकिंग और बिहेवियर को चेंज कर देगा.
बिल्कुल.
कि एज यू गेट इनटू एडल्टहुड यू विल सी इट in
Hmm.
small small things. You'll miss it and you'll wonder कि मेरे साथ क्या
ऐसा
गलत
क्या
है या
हुआ? हाँ.
ऐसा क्या हुआ that I can't move
Hmm.
up in.
जी.
So these are two books which have won Golden Book Awards and they are raising
Wow.
eyebrows because nobody wants to talk.
Definitely. Agree on that now. Yeah.
हाँ, उसको like कारपेट के नीचे धकेल दो, कपबोर्ड में घुसा दो and that's that.
Okay. Okay, so as we talked about the new readers, ma'am, now let's talk about the people who have already read your books. So what I personally feel that you have written 26 books as of now, and अभी आप हाल फिलहाल में तो नहीं रुकने वाले, आप अभी और लिखने ही वाले हो. So when it comes to talking from a reader who have already read a book, what they can expect as of now, like you want to try a bit on some other genres, experimenting. If you want to stick to these only, and you want to just go in depth in these genres, what's in the pipeline as of now?
Okay, see, I'll give you a little brief about the other books that I have written. Okay, so you talk about any genre and my book will come.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So, for example, if you talk about business and entrepreneurship, my book comes in because I have this book called The Horseshoe Man. That is a short biography about my husband and my life starting the brand, which was
that's
Amazon,
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the first generation entrepreneur. So that. Then you talk about women's wellness. Then I have books like, women's wellness, pregnancy and childbirth. I have books on that. Then you talk about book for a man. Okay. Like, for example, a man who's going to be a father, expecting daddy delivers. Then you talk about success. I have a book called F stands for success. That was the book that I had written about how failure becomes the stepping stone to success. Then I have a book for aspiring writers called Author. Okay, then there are people who want to read fiction. They can go for books like Ram, which is we can't say mythology anymore because it is history. So historical fiction. I have books like Rebellina, or I have books like Cleopatra Had Many Lives. So these are anthologies. Okay, so mostly I have touched upon most of the genres. I haven't one. But after doing such serious, so then you talk about mental health, then you have love yourself. This is about self-help and loving yourself. So honestly, I have had a red flag coming up from my doctor, because right now I'm hypertensive and I'm on statins, because to write 26 books in the span of 8 years. And these are not just small books, these are heavy metal books. Okay. So I have been having a red flag coming from my doctor, where she insists that I now take a break, because I would sleep for 4 hours, 5 hours a day. I'm writing 22 hours, and the editing and publishing each book. My mind is on fire. Like, वो अभी तो देखेंगे तो आप देखेंगे अंदर तो शायद भूसा ही होगा, या everything is smoking inside. Okay. But thankfully ये करने के by the time I finish my 26, उसी डंके के चोट में मेरा 27th book is ready, and this is fiction. I went into something very light. Okay, I'm not talking much about it because I'm waiting for some action out here, and we will be talking about this book shortly. So I'm moving into. But what people can expect from reading my books is, if you're looking at picking up a book and changing your life, okay, I'm very clear. I am not writing a story here, but even if I'm writing a story here, it has to be power-packed with transformation and insights. Every book of mine is like that. Like, for example, the book Ram is about running two parallel stories about a woman, about Sita, and about a woman who has a life, who compares her life to Sita and draws inspiration. So in spite of being history and in spite of being modern times, how women face the same issues, and they still can draw strength from each other, rather, I would say. So yes, so the next work is fiction, which is again personal transformation, relationships, love. It's about balancing your life. And I have two other books, like, right now the idea is brewing, and I'm telling my mind, shut up, Rakhi, shut up. Not take a break, because you can't write. Either you'll fall sick or you'll write crap. There will be one more thing. See, I like to write for the underdogs, the people who have been tested, tormented, and who want to aspire, and you don't want to give up in life. So the 27th book is a potpourri of relationships, love, and again I will be talking about abuse and toxic relationship in a fictional way. And 27th and 28th book has got something to do with success, and basically, I would say finding your space and finding your voice in life.
Okay, that's quite, बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें हैं, बहुत सारे ऐसे नए टॉपिक्स हैं जो कि अभी आपके रीडर्स के लिए आने वाले हैं. So definitely it's gonna be a treat for them after listening to this podcast. My next question to you, ma'am, is kind of a sub question to this particular question which I have asked already. Like, आज से 3-4 साल बाद अगर, या फिर अभी कोई अगर देखता है आपकी बुक, because you have written quite a number of books as of now, तो what sudden thought you want to make on that reader mind कि ठीक है, अच्छा राखी मैम की नई बुक है तो बुक ऐसी होगी, या मुझे ये पढ़ने को मिलेगा, मुझे ऐसा फील होगा. तो भी सोचा इस बारे में, what that that sudden feeling, that sudden thought you want to create on that reader mind?
The thought is very simple. From the time I start the book to the time I finish the book, I'm not the same person. Okay. I have changed. If you have picked up a topic on success, you have picked up a topic on women empowerment, if you have picked up a topic on health, even physical health, like I have a book for young couples who are defining their pregnancy called Infertility, Intuitions and Impatience. So I am not telling the couples what they need to hear. कहते हैं कि जल्दी से बच्चा करो, your biological clock is ticking. I won't say that. I will not leave an opinion on you. I will say that if this is the choice you're making, these are the consequences, and I'm going to get you ready for your consequences. The thing about life is, you can make a choice, but if the outcomes are not always in your hand, life is unpredictable. Yeah. Like today morning, we got up and we planned to do this this particular podcast.
Yeah.
We had not planned. So, but then I was like, okay, fine, let's do it. Instead of saying, okay, this is not a part of my day as of yet. So that's what life is. It will spring you surprises. So when a reader picks up my book, expect them to get surprised, but expect that they will not remain the same person. And the only thing that I want to leave with every reader of mine, that if you put my book down, maybe I'm not saying that you will have the exact solution or answers to your question, but you will find a way so that you're not groping around in the dark, and you'll go around one by one, gradually finding your path ahead.
A kind of level up?
Yes, level up. I always that everybody's path is different. What has worked for me may not work for you. Okay, and it's not fair for me to give you a template and say just do this. But if I give you a template and say work around this and improvise, you get me? So that's what a reader should expect out of my book. One is unconventional stuff. I will talk about things that people don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about their weaknesses. I will tell you about my weaknesses. I will tell you where I failed and where I messed up. I messed up at taking responsibility. I will talk about childhood abuse. I will talk about narcissistic abuse. I will talk about sexual abuse in children, which people don't want to talk about. You get me? I will talk about how you can mess up to fail, how you have done something wrong, and I will also talk about how life can be grateful, how life can be gracious, or how you can turn around the most horrible thing to be the most beautiful person. See, it's like this. My books are not about the stories or the concepts that I write about. It doesn't matter where you come from and who you are, because most of the time you don't have a choice. But what matters is what you make out of yourself, how far you go, and as you keep going along the line, how many lives can you change? That's the kind of stuff that you can find in my books.
Definitely, ma'am. So as of now, ma'am, like what's your current writing schedule? Like every day you devote some particular hours to your writing, or it's like some days you get some thoughts, you just jot it down on your phone, on a diary, and after that you just elaborate them. How does it goes with you?
Okay, see, it's like this. Okay, initially the idea keeps brewing. Okay, initial phases, they're like, I know there are like 2 ideas now. There are 2 ideas beating up on my the back of my head. Me, Rakhi, write about me. So I keep thinking about it. I think about it on my walks. I think about it when I'm swimming. And then slowly I start jotting it down. Okay. Then I will see. So I have a lot of incomplete, among all the 26 books now, if I open, I have a folder books to come. But they have never come to life. They've never seen the light of day. So I keep adding them, and then suddenly the one idea will take off. Like something will compel me to pursue that idea. So still then I'm only dabbling, little dabbling. Then suddenly I go barsak. Where I go barsak, I'll cut my nails off. Okay. Then start scheduling my appointments, because I love keeping long nails and painting them. वो कट जाएंगे, because अभी जिस तरह से typing करना होगा, ये nails weighs nothing. Yeah. And koodo and finish the first draft.
By the way, that was quite a realistic thought.
And the first draft will be madness. But abhi, because of my health issues, like actually, yes, you really mess up yourself if you are not careful. So what I have started doing, I have a policy ki main raat ko I will not write the whole night. Whatever happens, I will go to sleep at the night, a decent hour, 10:30, 11. Try to sleep, get up in the morning, chahe subah ho. And then it's a lot of challenge because I have 2 other professions. Okay, so then I will be cribbing, cranky, and what takes the beating is my social life. My friends, my outings, and all that goes for a toss. Those are the distractions I don't need. having lunches, going out for coffees and all that. Bare minimum what I can step out, and I have to go to social gatherings and go out with my spouse. That's it. Otherwise, I compromise. I take my time from there. I don't waste time there. Then when the first draft, so there are two modes. One is a writer mode. Okay. The first draft is ready. I write like a banshee throughout the day. Then once you finish the first draft, I take a break. I try to take a break for a week or two and, simmer on the idea. And in between, you have to understand if you're doing nonfiction writing and subjects. So I had to do a lot of courses and get a lot of certification. So that is also happening simultaneously. Because if I'm talking to people about narcissistic abuse and what narcissistic personality disorder is, I cannot misguide my writers. So I have got a certification. If I'm talking to you about food and diet, I have a certification from Stanford saying I know what I'm saying, along with my 4.5-year degree course. So that's also a part of my writing. Okay. Then after I finish the draft, I just take a chill pill. Okay. Oh, bapre. And yes, I'm pretty quick. After 26 books, people take years to write a book. I can finish a book in a month, first draft. In fact, Now You Breathe has got a record. 30,000 words overnight. 30,000. Oh my God. Because एक huge चढ़ा था. The actual, this is a case that also I was doing about a particular person in my life who threatened and gave me hell. And that's where I couldn't understand why this person is like this. Not only me, everybody else is dying and miserable around this person. So that night, that person, shook me up in such a way that I went back and shut my door and I said, I'm going to now, how many more people are going to suffer? And then I finished 1,000 words of that book. The first draft was ready. That was a record. And that's why I there's some power about that book. Then as a writer, I become an editor for my own book. So when you become an editor from your own book, you have to look at the book from another different perspective. And that is when all the chop shop, it's like a chop shop. Ye kato, wo kato, edit karo. Because a writer apni words to edit karna chahta hi nahi. You understand? That's a different thing ki professional editor will. Wo baat ki baat hai. But if you are going to offer absolute, you have to make your work easy for the rest of the team. Your next in line, your editor, your designer should know जो book को ये करते design करते, they should know how to work on a good manuscript. So then I change, and that is a cool thing. That I will go out to sit in a coffee alone. Yeah, you'd see me on a flight if I'm traveling. तब तो बस कप हाथ में coffee और बड़े मजे से I do the editing. And then the next round goes when it goes in the hands of my publishing team. Okay. So then that, and I'm a very meticulous author. Like the minute they get मेरा किताब सब पागल हो जाते हैं. So I have an assigned. I will have a publishing manager and a person assigned for my book. उन लोगों की तो दिन रात की नींद वगैरह सब everything is over. They don't finish the book, and I will I'm getting into a call. I'm getting into this that ऐसे करो वैसे करो. But they say कि ma'am, it's a challenge. The minute we know your book has hit has come to us. We enjoy doing. I enjoy it. It's like the thing. What I'm trying to tell you, Gaurav, is लोग समझते हैं कि एक author का life कितनी boring हो सकती है. समझ में आई बात? तो घर में बैठ के they keep writing on the laptop या paper pen में. I can't tell. It's so exciting.
Yeah, definitely, because it's good that you shared, because सुनने के बाद थोड़ा बहुत तो वो stereotype खत्म होना चाहिए.
No, it's very exciting. An author's life is very exciting. That is why most authors, I'll tell you, they're like crack. Okay, this is just a lighter. दिमाग सबका खराब होता है. Because you don't know what they are going through. दिमाग में एकदम अंदर every gray matter is like shaken up. In Bengali we call it jhala pala. Everything is shaken up.
Okay, so I guess that's all for today, guys. I hope you must have enjoyed this lovely and inspiring conversation with Rakhi ma'am. And if you do, then do follow our podcast, Reading the Author, available on all the leading podcast platforms. Don't forget to buy and read the book. आप just Amazon पे जाएं, वहाँ पे सर्च करें, राखी कपूर मैम की बुक आ जाएगी. जरूर खरीदें, पढ़ें और अपने चाहने वाले जानने से जरूर शेयर करें. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming on our show. It was my honor to be able to host you today.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for having me, and wishing all the readers the very best in life. And just remember, okay, life is too beautiful. And against all odds, you need to wake up every day. It is your personal responsibility to make your life matter for yourself and people around you. So love yourself passionately and love life, with everything you have, and stay blessed.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.